Hey everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the importance of keeping art playful and enjoying the process of creating. And the reason I wanted to do this video is because I see the trend on social media in particular to really focus on the end result. And I see a lot of artists who are at various stages in their creative journeys, being very focused and sometimes burned out on the need to constantly produce more art and have finished art to share. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with, in some cases, pushing yourself to create more art and get better in that way. But there's also a need, I feel, to sort of step back and loosen up and focus more on the process of making art. And keep in mind that the process is the enjoyment of making the art is really the main reason that most of us get into it. Whether we've become professional illustrators or artists within that journey, most of us started by not caring what we were doing. We were just playing with a pen or a crayon or a pencil or whatever, and not being so concerned with the outcome. Whatever the outcome was, when we first started out, we were probably very happy with the process of creating. And so that's the point of this exercise, is to really bring us back to that enjoyment of the process. So from time to time, I like to step back from my highly structured inking and throw some ink around the paper in a much more spontaneous way, like this. And as you can see, I have a big sheet of paper. It doesn't have to be big, but the bigger the sheet of paper is, the more freedom of expression and movement you'll have. Also, having a thicker paper is nice, especially if you can get something like watercolor paper. It will hold up to a much heavier application of ink, and it'll just be a lot easier for you to work with. And once you've got your big sheet of paper and you're ready to go, just start putting ink down on that paper. Think of the paper as your playground. And keep in mind that the point of the exercise is to just enjoy the process. And you'll enjoy the process the most if you're completely spontaneous. There's no need to make a plan. You're making marks on the paper in the moment in whatever way you want. And your paper will not look the way my paper looks here, nor should it. It will it will look however it looks. It doesn't matter how it looks. But keep the focus on the process. There's no right or wrong way to put marks on your paper. What I like to do is eventually focus on the overall tone and the texture and the patterns that I'm making, and try to let go of any care that I might have as to how it looks, which can be surprisingly difficult, especially given the amount of art that I do create. I'm generally very focused, because I'm an illustrator, I'm very focused on the specific finished product in most of my work. And so that's why this is such a great exercise for me, is it helps me to flex that muscle of not caring how it looks and to just experiment and play. And it's a great way to grow as an artist. It's a great way to learn because you are being playful, and you'll see things and notice things that you otherwise maybe wouldn't have tried. And in that way, you can take what you've learned and you can bring that to your other work and hopefully grow as an artist in that way. So it's a great way to experiment with new inking tools and techniques that you've never tried. Various pens and brushes, sponges, dripping, spattering. These are all just a few of the almost endless ways to apply ink to your paper. And it can be also a very meditative and relaxing thing to do. Even the sound that the pens make, even the sound of the dripping ink, if you allow it to be, can be very relaxing part of the process. And whenever I feel the need to just loosen up my inking and play around, this is what I do. And you can even use the same paper multiple times and just build upon it as I'm doing here. I think I've used this particular piece of paper 2 or 3 other sessions, and it's just grown into this interesting pattern of cross-hatching and spatters. Another great thing about this is that it doesn't need to take a lot of time, and that's something that a lot of us have in short supply. So you can spend as much time with it as you want. It can be an entire afternoon or evening, or it could be a free 5 or 10 minutes that you might have. But there's a lot of benefits to be gained from this exercise. Go as crazy as you want with it. I definitely encourage you to just use this as a platform to experiment, to learn, and just to relax. You know, ink art, as I mentioned, is a very precise, structured thing, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. So use the things that you learn in your experimenting and apply them in your work. It's a great way to grow as an artist. And if you'd like to see me use a few of the techniques that you saw here, a few of the techniques that I learned as I was kind of playing in this way, you can check out my recent tutorial over on Patreon, and I'll put a link to that video to my Patreon in the description below. But thanks for watching this video, listening to this video, and I hope you find value in what you heard here, and I'll see you around. Happy inking.